students, people who might be from Mean Girls, people who might be like, I love pop music and I love contemporary musical theater. And then there's things that like harken back to the first musicals that I was ever introduced to, like the MGM classics and like all the black and white movies. And then of course I have to, you know, do an ode to like the rock and roll that my parents raised me on. So it's really,
so it's an eclectic show. It's a lot of different things. The name of it is Raise Your Standards. So is that like the command to all of us to raise our standards?
Oh God, now that I realize it kind of does sound like it. I guess it's you know, maybe I'll spin that in like the positive of like, it's the standards. It's like all the music that we know and love, or that's different for every person. But since, you know, I'm the person up on stage, these are my standards. So raising them up to share them, and then encouraging other people, like, even if you like weird music, if it's your standard, like, raise it up, share it with people. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, as somebody who, you know, just started listening to top 40 music, like in the last couple years, I realized I was like, oh wow, like I have a very interesting taste in music, and I also love all the sort of contemporary pop stuff that's on the radio these days. So it's kind of an ode to all those different musical styles that have made me the musician and the music, honestly, just the music listener that I am. And I'm going to try and pay homage to all of them. Yeah.
Now so this is going to be the first stop on your tour, but is this the first time you're going to be performing live, like since the pandemic?
Yeah, this is the first time. I did like a little show in New York when it was still like at 30% capacity, just because I was like chomping at the bit and was like, I need to sing. And there was a small venue in New York that had opened up and was like, you can come in, but everybody's going to be, you know, sitting apart from one another, and it'll be a smaller audience because we can't, you know, sell to our numbers. And that was nice to sort of just like get my feet wet again, to sort of get back in the baby pool, if you will. So, but this tour is kind of like diving into the deep end again, which I'm really excited about. And it's, you know, I as much as I think we're all sort of ready to like move past the pandemic, I wanted to create a show that was just sort of about a celebration, as opposed to like, here's how hard these last 2 years were. I think we've all kind of heard that, and I don't discount those stories, and I know everybody has one, but I thought, you know, I want to create something now that is just a celebration of music and style, as opposed to, let me tell you about the last 2 years. Because I think, gosh, I mean, if I'm ready to move on, I can only imagine how everybody else feels. So I'm really excited to, you know, just be back on stage and to be sharing something that is personal, and about looking ahead, as opposed to sort of, you know, feeling still kind of stuck in the midst of what we all just went through. Yeah.
Well, so you haven't performed a lot live in the past few years, but I have to bring this up because you are a part of one of my absolute favorite TV shows that came out of the pandemic, Girls Five Ever. And I just saw there was a new teaser trailer for the second season that is coming out soon. Now, did you know anything about this project before the pandemic, or was it truly something that came during that time?
Truly something that came during the pandemic. And I remember, like, you know, obviously when we all left Mean Girls, we all loved working with Tina Fey so much, and we just thought, God, we'd do anything to do that again. But musical takes so long to bring to Broadway. I was like, well, I don't know when the next musical that she does is going to be, so hopefully it'll be something else. And then the first summer of the pandemic, they announced this show, and I was like, oh my God, I will do anything to be on that. I will be anything. And I found out that there were flashbacks for the characters. And I am a child of the 90s. I grew up on like all the 90s and early aughts, girl pop, Spice Girls, Destiny's Child, like the Chicks, also sort of like the country version of that. And I just had the best time, because in a weird way, the first thing that we ever shot on set was the music video.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like, the opening credits. And like, no, we didn't know anything. Like, nobody like had really like sat down and be like, okay, so you're this person and you're going to do this. But it was weird realizing like, oh, I know exactly what this is because I watched these music videos like on repeat when I was 16 or 17 years old.
Yeah, like TRL, like
Yeah.
all those things. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like if you had to do research for this show, it was probably so fun to like go back and just watch all of these girl groups. Spice, you mentioned Spice Girls,
Yep.
Destiny's Child, just so many amazing girl groups from that time period.
And all of like the Carson Daly talk show stuff. Like it was just a total era in a way that like I think the show does a good job at poking fun at in the sense of being like, this is problematic that this happened.
Yes.
And yet also it's like it was such joyous like boy band girl band time that we don't I don't think we like really have a counterpart to that right now. So I loved revisiting and being
and your wardrobe in that show is just so on point for that time period, and I'm sure that has been fun revisiting those styles.
It really has. The costume fitting days are some of the most like insane because you just walk in and you're like, because also it's now like all back in style. I was like, where'd you find this?
I know.
Like, we went to Urban Outfitters.
Which when I see that, I'm like, why? We do not need to bring those things back. You know, for us, it's like, oh no, why are you doing that?
Exactly. It's so funny.
But I mean, just again with this show, you are working with just an incredible female-led, you know, cast and creative team. Like you said, you're working with Tina Fey again, Ashley Park from Mean Girls, all these incredible Broadway people. What is it like on set? Is it just so fun and funny? And because it's a comedy, and I imagine that it's just ridiculous on set.
It's very funny. The thing that is hard, or that I, you know, as somebody coming from live theater, that was so fascinating to watch was, like there was a day, so I'm not on set with Paula Pell very often because she plays, you know, present day, present day me. What is her character's Gloria name? Oh, it's been, so we wrapped the final and I'm like, what's that girl's name? And so it's funny because like, so one day I was on set though, and she was doing a scene and I was like, oh my God, I want to watch Paula because I never get to watch her and she's a comedic genius. And she's doing this scene in her dentist room. And because we're filming, nobody can laugh. And every single choice she's making is hysterical. And I was like, she knows she's really funny, right? Because like, if she knows, right? Because nobody's able to laugh, but everybody's laughing behind their masks and like quietly under, you know, like literally laughing into their t-shirts and their sweatshirts. So it really is like this thing where for me, the hardest thing is not cracking during the filming because the characters are just like so big and the like the tensions between them are so interesting. Like they're just four completely different individuals. So when you put them all on a set together in their characters, like it's comedic gold. And sometimes I'll look at Renee Goldsberry and I'm just like, this is so funny and I can't laugh right now because we're filming, but this is making me crack up. And then like Offset, when everybody drops their characters, they are just as like hysterical and warm and kind. It's a really good group. And there's just like a lot of talent, comedic talent. And then of course, you know, the vocal and the musicianship talent. Sarah like helped to write with Jeff Richmond and the music team, one of the songs at the end of season 1 that's like still on my shuffle. It like plays all the time. I just think it's such a good song.
I know. I was like, you know, they kind of at the end of the first season, it seems like, you know, Sarah Bareilles' character is kind of finding her voice, and so I think we're all hoping, you know, for some more of original songs maybe in the second season. Can you give? I mean, I know you probably can't give us a lot about the second season, but is there anything that you can tease? Are there going to be more amazing wardrobe choices and music videos?
So many more. Well, one thing I can tease, I don't know if people have caught it yet, but it is out there, so I can say this. They just released a teaser of it, and there's quite a large role for another Broadway person, for Gray Henson, who played Damien in Mean Girls. And he ends up working with Girls Five Eva, and he has like an awesome part in the new series, and definitely worth watching for many reasons, but particularly, I think he's just going to be wonderful. And they just announced it. It was like a secret, and now he's like in one of the teasers, so you can go check that
so
out.
you're basically bringing the entire cast of Mean Girls back together.
Yes, we feel very lucky. You know, even just popping in and out, like for these little flashbacks, it's just a really great team to be a part of.
That's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the last thing I want to touch on is I love following you on social media. You are, you're a performer and you've done so many amazing things, but you are also such an incredible advocate and activist, and you support so many different causes, which is so incredible. And it seems like you're very passionate about access to arts education. You do a lot of teaching. What is it that, obviously you have a passion for arts education, but what is it that draws you into that so much?
For me, it was like growing up, it was just the thing that I did that helped me find sort of my group of friends, and not just the profession that I ended up doing, but more so just a place where I felt very comfortable and very alive, and not, like I never felt when I was doing anything theatrical, like even if it was just dance class or vocal lessons, I never felt like, oh, I'm doing this thing because I have to. It was always just I get to and I want to, and that's really special. And I feel like unless you're exposed to it, you don't know. But particularly the element of creating like social relationships through the arts and sort of creating an inner voice that will be helpful for people beyond if they decide to become an actor or not.
Exactly.
Just gaining that confidence and gaining that support system that inevitably comes from putting on a show, even if it's just, something that you do at your like local junior high. So I really, and I think a hard thing for me was watching, everybody who had their high school musicals canceled, because for me that was such a big experience. Like it really was the first time in high school where I was like, oh, I don't feel like a total person on the outskirts. And so just trying to create any opportunity to pass on what's not just what's worked for me, but trying to create an environment where people can feel that the arts and singing and sharing music or sharing songs they like does not have to be a competitive thing in the way that I feel so many things are when you're a student, but can actually just be a very individual, personal experience and a chance to connect with other people. So that's why I love teaching. And then you just get to watch people grow like in the moment, which is very satisfying. On a selfish level, it's very satisfying for me to watch.
That's amazing. Yeah, I agree. I think through the pandemic, the group of people I thought of the most is probably high school and college students. I'm like, because college is all about the experience, and especially, if you're in the arts, doing shows, and it had to have been so hard. So I hope all these people can, still be motivated and are able to.
So.
Yeah.
I really hope so. And that's why, it was something important to me to sort of like get back on the road and sing in places that weren't New York City, because I think it's so hard right now for people to come to New York. I think Broadway is rebuilding, but it's a bit slower. And I was just like, I feel like so many young people got burnt out and are probably like, is there even the point of doing this? Like, is it happening?
Yes.
And visiting these cities hopefully can, maybe even if it's just one person in the audience who's like, oh, okay, live theater's back, live storytelling's back. Because I think it does feel like it got really, really far away there for a second.
Yeah. So again, bringing it back to your show here in St. Louis, we obviously want to encourage, especially the young people, to come to your show. It's going to be such a fun night. You're going to be sharing stories, sharing so many different songs from so many different genres. So we really want to encourage people in St. Louis to get tickets to your show. You're going to be with us next Tuesday, March 22nd at 7:30. Yeah, you have less than a week.
That's so soon. Am I ready? I'll be ready.
So people in St. Louis, you can get your tickets at bluestrawberrystl.com. And Erika, thank you so much for doing this today. We are so excited to have you here next week. So yeah, have a great rest of your week, and have fun preparing with your puppy. Until then.
Yes, we're going to do the whole show tonight. We're going to do it, rehearse it in here in the living room. Then it'll be live Tuesday next week. I can't wait.
All right, Erika, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. I'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.